Okay, so hello again. It's Marshall. I just wanted to do video number 2 and do a update on how it's coming along with the website, which is the whole reason I do these videos. I want to sort of go over a few things about the website, go over a few things about these videos, and keep you guys updated on the progress. I keep I keep knocking down projects here and there. I've finished my 4th children's flip book. I've done my 4th novella, and I've added a another 2 projects to it. So I do 8, add 2. I've got 22 or 23 listed on the website at the moment, of which there should be another 3 that'll be completed within a week, and I'll keep trying to knock them off as I can. And the new projects, of course, are going to take a little bit longer, but I should be able to get most of the website populated within the next month or month and a bit. So there'll be a lot to see, a lot to look at. I'm also adding a lot of free Flash, and it's going to be, I guess, swag, and the swag is going to be available. It's basically like advertising logo, like the logo, company logo, and other Flash that's similar. Batman. Anyway, so these sorts of things are going to be available too. I will be generally creating, there's going to be silkscreen printing that I'm going to be using for my own advertising, because advertising is usually the highest cost per unit, and the things that I produce and that I'm completing, because I've been producing these things for 30 years. As I produce them and finish cleaning them up, and I get them populated onto the website for sale, I'm going to have a lot on there in order to give everyone a sense of my thought process, what the stories are sort of like, what the concepts are like, what the children's books are like, and a lot of the advertising should be promoting that sort of mentality and generating some sort of hype or interest around what it is that I do. So as I get those things completed, I will be adding that sort of information onto the website too. The hardest thing was, oh my God, putting a website together was an incredible nightmare. And it's not necessarily that it was a hard thing to do to create the website. The hardest thing to do was to clean it up. So populating the whole website itself was one thing, but getting it so that it was navigable and making sure that everything that's on the website was easily browsed through seemed to be the hardest challenge I had. So of the things that I have on there with the original novellas, which are generally 3,000 to 5,000 word short stories, all original. I'm going to be creating audiobooks, and of course I'm learning how to create an audiobook, which is another challenge. Creating audiobooks isn't a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to do from what I've been learning. It's a hard thing to do if you're going to create an audiobook, say for Audible or for one of these resellers of audiobooks. That's my daughter being an airplane in the back. She's the one that did my hair. You could tell her hair turned out a wild shade of blue. I didn't want a heavy blue like that because that just makes me look like I'm trying to be a teenager, and no, I'm done with that. So the other thing was that all of these audiobooks because in my mind, every time I go out and do something, if I'm, say, out skateboarding, I skateboard for like 30 minutes and then I do something else for a bit, and then, or I go for a 30-minute bike ride, or I'm driving to work, it takes 30 minutes, and a lot of things that I do take about 30 minutes. Um, so I want to make these audiobooks roughly 30 minutes long. I also am going to be making the children's books so that they're available for download as a flip book, and they can be printed. I will be offering a hard copy version of them. I've got we're in the works where I can have them created as a hard copy book. So unfortunately, I have to go through. There's two systems I can use. One is a vanity press, which raises the price, and I didn't like the concept behind that. And then the other one was um, forwarding myself through a better printer, and that can take a thicker stock, a good card, and create the binding system that would work effectively, so that it's a book you can have in your library for years. Of course, your children will grow up, and if they could pass it on to their children, that'd be fantastic. Like I say, these stories are original stories, so I've got four of them populated already. I've got another three on the go, and it'll be an ongoing system. I'm not sure how many more children's books I'll be writing, but I do have a bunch more novellas that are in the works, and there's other things that I'm creating. So, like I say, keep an eye on the website. It's going to be populating more and more stuff all the time. One of the things that I do, like I say, is flash art, like the logo, like the little Batman I did. All these things are just simple flash art, and I want to be able to make sort of prints out of them. And my daughter, who does a lot of art herself, and she's going to be selling her arts on print, is going to be sort of learning, and we'll be learning together exactly how to produce this print art in a way that is nice for promotion, but also something that would be nice to own. So the screen prints themselves are different. I did screen printing back in high school. It wasn't difficult. The thing about it was, I think, was it drew me into the concept of 3D printing, which I want to try. It's an awesome thing to be able to want to learn new things. Some of them are going to be a challenge, like the audiobooks and the flip books. The programming for them is going to be a bit of a challenge, but of course, I don't mind the challenge. The real thing is going to be figuring out how to make the screen printing effective, so that I'll be screen printing stuff for myself because I like to self-promote. But they will be available for t-shirts and stuff like that. So if you purchase a book and you like the story behind it, you can get say a wristband or something that has. I understand wristbands are 80s. Anyways, wristbands or something like that that has the logo or the flash art that is indicative of that story that I wrote. Each one has flash art. When I wrote the stories, I created a cover flash art for it. There is limerick or whatever, sort of poetry that goes along with a lot of them. You'll see that in my writing. Sometimes I splash in a little bit of poetry because that's the way my head spins, and it's just something that I've always done. It's a form of writing that I do. So I think the most exciting part about this is going to be doing the audiobooks, because I'm kind of excited about learning it. I'm kind of excited about challenging myself to be able to have a good speaking voice, which I don't yet, but all these things are in the process of being cleaned up and figured out. I have gathered enough things around where I can have like I've got the microphone, the programming is being downloaded, and the obviously the video room I'm in right now is just it's just a big bright space I can use, and you can see me. I understand that working through my tablet, the audio is terrible, and the video is not fantastic either, but The point of this whole thing was to let you know that I'm still working on stuff. I'm going to be trying to do, 3 to 5 videos a week. I'd like to get it to a video a day because there's, aside from everything that's happening with the website at the moment, we're going through some interesting times. I do have opinions about a lot of things that are going on around us at the moment, a lot of things that are happening in the world that people are challenged with. Our neighbors down south are going through some incredibly rough times, and I feel very bad for them. Not in a sense where, you know, too bad for them. I feel sort of like if there was more that we could do to help them to navigate through what's happening right now. I wish we could. Everybody in the world is going through a lot of things right now that every country is battling with, and since I'm in Canada, we're battling it ourselves. I happen to be in a portion of Canada that isn't hit terribly hard with it, considering our population is a little high on this end of Canada, and we have our own challenges. We are trying our best to mitigate the damage and to come through this without too many people suffering. So I don't really want to say too much more about that. I'm not a very political guy. I do know that with all the things that are happening, especially with the financial system and those sorts of things, there's a sense of like, what do you do? Where do you go? How do you how do you make money? How do you find any kind of balance? There's no return on interest right now. Anywhere you go, there's no return on interest in the banks, and there's challenges both with the common fiat system that we have, especially in countries like Canada that are highly indebted, and other countries around the world where they're falling into pre-anarchy at this point. Everybody is on edge, everybody's stressed out, and we all have to sort of help each other out as best we can. So I do have this website that I'm creating. I do have this YouTube channel which I'll be feeding on a regular basis. I think that one of the things that people use to help get their mind off of all the displacement they're feeling is being able to listen to YouTube channels. We sort of saw this coming because cable, you could have 52 channels on TV and there's nothing to watch. Whenever I think the more content that people can create on YouTube, the more things that we could have to help take our mind off of some of the high stress situations that are out there. Now, one of the things I sort of did want to talk about was because my family is dealing with a certain amount of stress also, I wanted to say that there's a lot of fear, angst, and anxiety around the health situations for all the countries that are suffering, which there is no country that's untouched. No matter where you look, people are dealing with it, and they're doing their best to deal with it as a community. Whether their governments are making it easier or harder for them, Canada, our government has enough social programs that, we don't have to struggle as much, but we're struggling. There's a lot of people that are out of work right now. There's a lot of people that can't seem to get ahead. So as a lot of people are falling back, there's a lot more social programs and social systems and self-help systems and systems where there's a lot more volunteer groups that are popping up, because as a society we all want to help each other like we want to help ourselves. The only real thing I can say about the financial situation and the way it stands right now is that there's a lot of people on YouTube, like some of the loudest voices are are being very vocal about where they feel let's say the stock market is going, or where they feel that things like alternate forms of liquidity or investment sit right now. So let's say you want to know where you can generate some kind of yield. The highest yield performers right now seem to be in decentralized finance, in cryptocurrencies, and I think there's sort of a disconnect on understanding what cryptocurrencies are as opposed to decentralized finance. And even though cryptocurrencies are the backbone of a lot of the decentralized finance, because you can use things like ADA or Ethereum or these coins to um, have proof of stake, and if you stake the coins, then you can earn interest back. They tout, mid to high interest rate possibilities. That's always one side of it. So you get yourself some like 26 or 28 Ether coins at $350 a coin. That's a lot of money. Then you can stake it, and if you leave it in the exchange, then you can earn interest from other people loaning from it or flash loaning it. There's other things like Cardano and other platforms that are offering the same system. And even though Ethereum 2.0 hasn't launched yet, in order to do the staking, they are supposed to be doing it this year in 2020. So hopefully that works. All I can say is diversify, diversify. So yes, you should probably, if you can, put a little bit of money into cryptocurrency. This is not financial advice. Everybody says that. And it's not. I have no real idea what the heck's going on. Nobody does. Or where everything's going to go. All we know is that I myself and all the people I talk to at work is that if you don't diversify, then you may get hurt coming on the tail end of what's happening. So diversification basically means that if you need to leave some money in the bank, even though it's earning a little bit of interest, at least you're staying in a little bit in the fiat monetary system. Money, you have a little bit of money sitting there somewhere. So pay off your credit cards, pay off your debt, and save some money. The other part of it is, where do you save your money? You're only going to have so many bank accounts that are going to offer you more than 1%, and that's terrible, right? Interest rates will not rise as long as the government is keeping them down. It's bad in the financial system if you're trying to save money, but it's actually a good thing if the interest rates for a mortgage right now are at the lowest they've ever been historically, so around 3% in Canada. And they're trying to keep it low. It's harder to get a loan because the requirements are that your credit score has to be 700, and you can't loan the deposit or the down payment, so it has to be saved or lent by a family member, yada yada yada, making it more difficult but easier to get the loan. So on the back end, it's more difficult to come up with the deposit, and on the front end, it's easier because there's a lower interest rate. Lock into a low interest rate. Try not to go for a variable, because if the central banks, like the Bank of Canada and all those things, lose control, the interest rates are going to spike, because that's where the capitalism wants the interest rates to go up, so that they earn higher interest, and the banks earn higher interest rate, because that's where they make the money. So I'm probably going pretty fast on this sort of stuff, but I want to keep it down to 30 minutes. And I'm trying to just give you a sense of where my head is at. This has very little to do with the website, because the website is more about creating my own things. And in my life, I've always sort of been self-employed. So I believe in capitalism to the sense where that if you can create your own business or have your own business license, then the positives greatly outweigh the stress of the negatives. So being self-employed is not for everybody. Most people are nervous about whether or not they can confidently come up with a monthly income if they're self-employed, because they're constantly trying to search out their paychecks. And it's easier to work for a corporation where you get medical, dental, and you have a generally guaranteed income, although there's a lot of big companies out there that are going out of business, laying people off when Air Canada is losing a lot of employees, and it's a challenge all the way around. Oil industries and all that are losing people left, right, and center. Then you lose your confidence in your stability. And the last thing in the world you want to do is lose your mortgage or your home, right? So there's a lot of things, because I listen to a lot of these podcasts from people that financially have a general advice. So the question then becomes, do you invest in the stock market? Sure, the central governments, North America here and Europe and all that, they're going to do everything they possibly can so that the stock market does not crash. They're going to create money out of nothing, out of thin air forever, keep the interest rates at zero forever, and hope to God that they don't overshoot it and create massive inflation. The inflation they want to create is in the stock market. They want to create high valuations, and they want to create inflation in the housing market and make sure that that doesn't crash itself. A lot of people are saying that that's an untenable situation, that there's no way that they can do this forever. But then again, look at Japan. They've been doing it for 20 years. And yes, they can do it forever. It's a confidence thing, right? So if they're saying we're going to keep interest rates at zero, and we're not going to let the stock market go down, we're going to keep beefing up the portions of the stock market that need it the most, that have the highest amount of risk, then they create this zombie economy. And if you don't think it can work, like I say, take a look at Japan. They've been doing it for years and years and years. And yeah, they've almost lost control of it a few times, but it's still running. And even Japan is finding a hard time continuing this zero or negative interest rate policy that they've been flirting with for years and years. But they've been able to keep it up. Now, can the American government and the Canadian government and the European government and central banks keep it up? As long as we're willing to invest in these companies, because as we have to diversify, we have to make sure that we're covering all our bases. If we're going to save some money in the bank, if we're going to invest in cryptocurrencies, if we're going to try to find yield somewhere, then yes, you have to sort of, you don't have to, but it would make sense to diversify in the stock market. Also, if you can find companies that have, the best chance of staying afloat, high revenue, low debt, and low market cap, so they have room to grow, then, if you park some of your investment in there, then you have a pretty good chance of having safety and security in the future on return on your investment. So all you want to do is you want to secure as much of your income and your your savings as you can. I think the other portion of that also is where we come into these discussions about precious metals. So once again, gold has been money for 6,000 years. I don't see it going anywhere. Yes, countries around the world are hoarding gold and buying up as much gold and silver as they possibly can. So, like somebody says, listen to the smartest people in the room and do what they do. Just as they're buying cryptocurrencies, they're buying gold, they're buying silver. So if you can, it might make sense to put some money towards that also. My main portion of this conversation really relies on the fact that I believe that diversification is the only way to go. So if I'm going to say that you should have some stocks, it's because I bought some stocks. If I say you should look at getting some cryptocurrencies, learn about them first before you invest in them, because there's a lot of coins out there that are only up because, say, Bitcoin is up. You don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin, but if you just park some money into it, it's rising right now, and it'll probably go up considerably before it stalls again. Also, in precious metals, it's probably a good idea to have some gold and silver, and probably a good idea to have some cash on hand sitting somewhere. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you haven't left any stones unturned. You want to make sure that you have money sitting in as many places as possible. And what you want to do is make sure that if there is a crash, that not everything can crash at once. It's possible that they make gold and silver illegal. It's possible that they make cryptocurrencies illegal, and it's possible that the stock market crashes. And if all of these things come to fruition, then we're all screwed anyway. So really, not much you can do. They would just bail in, basically draw out money from savers' accounts to cover the banks, and we would have no shot anyway. So it's going to be about community. It's going to be about the people that you know, the people you love, the people you care about, and becoming a community. If we end up back in the barter system, then hopefully you own some chickens. I don't know. I mean, it's got to be something, right? So my concept at the opening of this video is the fact that you should really start a business, and hopefully you can sort of go from there. If you have a talent, or if you have an interest or something that you find that's marketable, then start with that. Do I think it's a good time to buy a home? I don't see this heated market making a lot of sense, even though it's a 3% interest rate, and even if you can get a down payment for a $500,000 to a $1 million home in a rural area, it still sounds a bit risky because, yes, the housing market generally goes up over time, but it has been known to crash. In Japan, it crashed and it's never come back after 20 years. Can that happen in Canada? Absolutely. I can see it happening. So what you want to do is make sure that you've made your investment portfolio as diversified as possible. Once again, this information is just to let you know what type of what kind of thought process I'm running through. The website, the Red-Eyed Radical website, once again, is basically where I have invested most of my time and effort, and where I'm going to be moving forward on investing a lot of my time and effort. So I'll be creating these videos. I'll be talking about all sorts of subjects and stuff like that. I'm sure I'll be getting a lot of feedback. All that information is going to be available at the bottom of these videos, and it's going to be leading to my website. Once again, it's this guy here, Red-Eye Radical. I'll have some advertising that's going to be attached to it, and hopefully I'll see you guys there. Yes, if you have feedback, I'd be happy to try to have conversations about the things that you guys are considering, thinking about. I don't have a PhD in anything. I'm not like a super smart guy. I'm just a guy that's made some half decent choices and decisions in my life, and I've gotten this far. I have diversified, and I'm getting ready for any sort of eventuality. But I think the blue hair takes it away. I think the next color is going to be green, so we'll see what happens with that. Until then, I'm just going to slowly go gray and sort of enjoy it as I go. On the next video, I think I'm going to discuss a little bit more about who I am, where I come from, and then get into a few more subjects. There's a lot more things I'm learning about. I'm happy to discuss those. I'm happy to tell you what I've learned about all these small business concepts that I'm coming up with myself. But I'm a creative person, so I like I say, find your niche, follow up on it, do what you feel is important to you, and just be safe, be careful, and just be a good citizen to the people around you. And hopefully that we're all going to come out of this fine. Civilization has gone through a lot of rough times. This is another one that I hope everybody's at least partially prepared for. And with that, See you again.